Understanding calorie deficit is something I see a lot, and especially I had some people try to argue with me about the idea of what a calorie deficit is. And the most common information that gets put out there is, especially when people mention like, oh, you need to be in a calorie deficit. And when someone's like, okay, what's a calorie deficit? Oh, it's when you eat less calories than you burn. It's like, okay. So, for example, you need to eat like 1,200 calories a day, blah, 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 blah. And like they'll break it down like the amount of calories you should be putting in and the amount of calories you should be burning, but they don't tell you how to burn those. So they'll tell you the easy part, which is the calories in part. Like, oh, eat 1,200 calories or 15, 16, whatever, right? And then they don't really tell you exactly what you need to do for the calories out part. Sometimes they'll just mention, oh yeah, do cardio, maybe an hour of cardio or something like that, not really specifying why you would have to do a 6 hours of cardio and what 6 hours of cardio would be. If you're walking for 6 hours, I mean not 6 hours, I meant 60 minutes or like for an hour, an hour of cardio. That's what I meant to say. 6 hour of cardio, that's crazy. An hour of cardio is like that's 60 minutes. Therefore, if you burn, which is essentially 1,000 steps, every 10 minutes, you're burning roughly, which means that's 100 calories every 10 minutes. So that means you're burning 600 calories. So there's if you take 10 minutes and put it into 60, 10 times 60, 10 times 6 is 60, right? So 600 calories. If you're running for that 1 hour, then you could potentially burn 1,200. You could burn twice as much, so to speak. Theoretically, anyway, right? But on average, you're going to be burning roughly 600 calories an hour. So if you do 1 hour of cardio, that's roughly 600 calories. But people are telling you, let's say, to eat 1,200 calories. Well, 1 hour cardio is half of that, which is 600. So you still need to burn another 600. So where's the other 600? They tell you to do 1 hour cardio, but that only burns 600 unless you're running, right? So where's the other 600 coming from? So there's information that a lot of times gets left out when people mention the idea of a calorie deficit. When I point out that like eat 1,000 calories, burn 1,000 calories, 10K steps will help you burn 1,000 calories. That's giving you everything you need to know about the concept of calories in, calories out, right? So if you eat 1,000 calories, then you need to burn that 1,000 calories, and then the 10K steps is how you're going to burn that 1,000 calories, right? Now, by default, any extra activity you do is going to burn more calories than that, right? So then that's where you're going to definitely be in a deficit. So the first thing I give you is the baseline of whatever you put in. If you put in 1,000 calories, then you got to at least burn that minimum. Minimum is burn what you eat, and then hopefully you burn more than that, right? Some people take what I say a little too literal, and just assume that it's like the worst advice ever. And it's like, no, it's the way you're supposed to explain calories in, calories out. Whatever amount they put in. And since on average, most people, if they have a job at least, are going to burn roughly close to 2,000 calories. So most people want fast results. Therefore, we need to give them at least the burning 2 pounds a week outcome, right? Which means they need to burn 8,000 calories extra a day. So that way it's 7,000 calories they burn extra a day. So in total, mathematically, it's 14,000 calories that you need to burn for a week. But because you ate 7,000 calories, that replaces half of what you burn, right? So if you eat 7,000 calories a week, you're going to need to burn 14. You're going to need to burn twice as much just to make sure you burn 2 pounds of fat a week, because you need 3,500 calories per pound. And since we're trying to burn 2 pounds, 3,500 times 2 is 7,000. Right? So if I say, and since most people might not be interested in going to the gym, or they might not want to run or cardio or do anything, they might be super lazy, right? Lazy exercise, right? Plug in lazy. They might be super lazy. There's like the most they might do is work, and they might burn 2,000 calories or even 1,500 calories. So me telling them, hey, eat 1,000 calories a day minimum, go to work, do what you gotta do some physical activity, move, walk, do a little bit of walking, whatever it takes. You will be in a scenario where you should be burning more than the 1,000 you consumed, and then now you're at a calorie deficit because you're burning more than you eat. So putting less into your body will, especially if you are physically active by working at least bare minimum, right? Having a job, shit, even going to school and stuff like that can be physically tasking, right? Walking to school, around school, right? If you have gym class, then you're definitely doing some physical activity. So you're going to burn more calories than 1,000 calories. So that's why it's a good idea to eat at least a minimum. I'm not saying you have to eat 1,000 specifically, but at least a minimum of 1,000 calories. So that way, whatever extra calories you burn beyond 1,000, because the goal is to try to burn 1,000, and we need to have a way to control and guarantee we burn 1,000, and that's where the 10,000 steps come in when I mentioned it. So I was like, eat 1,000 calories, walk 10,000 steps. You should burn 1,000 calories, and you should see some results. Right, you should lose weight. Now, if you want to eat more, that's fine. Go ahead, eat more. Understand that by eating more, that means you do have to do more work, more out. You need to burn more out. So if you're going to put in more into your body, you need to make sure you take more out of your body, and that's the calories. But a lot of times people don't put the emphasis on the calories out part, the importance of it. And right now, there's some people going to disagree with the idea, and some people have, with the idea of burning calories. I mean, not burning, sweating out fat. Even though, if I go to Google, right, type up, let's see, sweat. Sweat has fat, I guess. Right there, sweat is a liquid made from 99% water and 1% salt and fat. Let me repeat again, 1% salt and fat. Up to a quart of sweat evaporates each day. When your body becomes overheat, you sweat, obviously. So, just a quick little Google search. Does sweat have fat? Yes, it does. It's 1% of the total amount of what you sweat. So if you sweat a cup worth of sweat, only 1% of that is salt and fat. The rest is water. Yeah, obviously. So some people will try to argue that, oh, water weight. Like, yeah, I'm not. Yes. Ironically, sweat consists of water. So isn't that ironic? Sweat consists of water. Who would have guessed? So, with understanding that sweat consists of water, but also consists of salt, and also consists, ironically, protein. It wasn't mentioned in the Google search, but I did find some information that says you do sweat out a little bit of protein. But the fat part is the most important part. The fact that you sweat fat is like, oh, okay. So sweating is beneficial for fat loss because there's literal fat in the sweat. So the more you sweat, what happens? Mathematically, logic. Anybody want to take a guess? You lose more fat. I literally just uploaded some videos of some people using the sauna belts, and they were like, "Oh, 1 month of using it. Oh, 2 months, 3 months." And you see the transformation. You see that it's definitely working. Especially you see that their stomach is getting smaller, but the rest of the body is not really shrinking that much. I'm not saying that they're not losing some weight around their body. It's just specifically their stomach area is the noticeable change in the videos. Kind of gives the impression to me, from my observation, is that you can make your stomach smaller without necessarily making the rest of your body smaller. And all I see is that they use they use the sauna belts. They clearly do some cardio, which requires them to use their legs mostly, like stairmasters, exercise bike, treadmills, that kind of stuff, and any other physical activity they do while wearing the belt. But once they take the belt off, what do you see? A whole bunch of sweat, a whole bunch of water falling out, and their waist is smaller. And it's smaller over a long period of time. It keeps getting smaller and smaller, which is great to see. It's great to see results, which proves that it does work, which is why the product is sold, which is why a lot of people buy the product. And I do have the product in my showcase, so go check it out. I got a couple links where you can purchase on TikTok Shop the sauna belts, even sauna suits if you want to do a full body thing. I have the sauna suits as well as I have the sauna belt. Ironically, I use the belt more than the suits, but it's mostly because I'm just trying to focus on slimming down my tummy. I want to maintain a large frame, a large size, but I do want to slim down the stomach since I don't need my stomach to be so big. I want it to be smaller. Everything else can be big, and I just build up some muscle into those areas, and I'm good. That's my goals. That's my plan of action. But for most of y'all, you want to do a full body thing where you slim down from head to toe, go ahead, get a full body suit. But that's why it's so funny to see, or I should say so annoying and so unfortunate to see people online trying to disagree with it and with the results just because they heard somebody else, especially somebody else with a lot of followers and stuff, saying you do not choose where the fat disappears from your body. You just gotta be in a calorie deficit, cardio, and your body will do the rest on its own. It's like, no. Your body functions a certain type of way. Your body does things a certain type of way, yes, but we understand how the body works and what it does and doesn't do. And you can quickly Google, does sweat have fat in it? And the answer is yes, it does. Very little fat, but it still has fat. And that's all we, as people who trying to get rid of as much fat as possible, especially if we want to get rid of it from a specific area on our body, that's all we need to hear. Oh, if I make that area sweat, 1% of that sweat is going to be fat. Yes, please. Let's make that area sweat every day, all day, every day for a whole year. And let's see what happens. And so far, I've seen some results from other people doing it, and it works. And I've done it many times before when I was younger. I wanted to slim down my stomach. That's what I did. I was using a trash bag back in the day. That's the irony. I was using a trash bag when I was a teenager to slim down. That worked. Now I'm older. Now I'm like, okay, I want to target my stomach area, and that's where the sauna belt comes in. A couple years ago when I was like in my 20s or something like that, or early 30s, I was using a sauna belt, and I slimmed down my stomach at that time. So I know from personal experience that it works, and I see other people who also do it, and it works. So according to that math, let me carry the 1 times multiply root of 12. Yeah, it works. So screw you people who don't believe it works, because it does. That's just the end of the story.